The book of Numbers, chapter 7, verse 1, Numbers 7 and 1. Numbers, the 7th chapter and the first verse. Dedicating the holy tent. Moses finished setting up the holy tent. Excuse me. On that day, he dedicated it to God. Moses anointed the tent and everything in it. He also anointed the altar and all the things used with it. Then the leaders of Israel gave offerings to God. These men were the heads of their families and leaders of their tribes. These were the same men who were in charge of counting the people. These leaders brought gifts and gave them to the Lord in front of the holy tent. They brought 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen for pulling the wagons. Each leader gave an ox and joined with another leader to give a wagon. The Lord said to Moses, accept these gifts from the leaders. These gifts can be used in the work of the meeting tent. Give them to the Levites and help them do their work. So Moses accepted the wagons and the oxen and gave them to the Levites. He gave 2 wagons and 4 oxen to the men in Gershon's group. They needed the wagons and the oxen for their work. Then Moses gave 4 wagons and 8 oxen to the men in Merari's group. They needed the wagons and oxen for their work. Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest, was responsible for the work of all these men. Moses did not give any oxen or wagons to the men in Kohath's group because their job was to carry the holy things on their shoulders. When Moses anointed the altar, the leaders brought offerings for its dedication. They gave their offerings to the Lord at the altar. The Lord told Moses, each day one leader must bring his gift for the dedication of the altar. Each of the 12 leaders brought these gifts. Here go the details. Each leader brought 1 silver plate that weighed 3 1/4 pounds. Each leader brought 1 silver bowl that weighed about 1 3/4 pounds. Both of these gifts were weighed by the official measure. The bowl and the plate were filled with fine flour mixed with oil. This was to be used as a grain offering. Each leader also brought a large gold spoon that weighed about 4 ounces. The spoon was filled with incense. Each leader also brought 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old. These animals were for a burnt offering. Each leader also brought 1 male goat to be used as a sin offering. Each leader brought 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs a year old. All of them were sacrificed for a fellowship offering. All right, here we go. On the first day, the leader of the tribe of Judah, Nahshon, son of Amminadab, brought his gifts. On the second day, the leader of the tribe of Issachar, Nethiel, son of Zuar, brought his gifts. On the third day, the leader of the tribe of Zebulun, Eliab, son of Helon, brought his gifts. On the fourth day, the leader of the tribe of Reuben, Eleazar, son of Shooter, brought his gifts. We're listing all these offerings now. On the fifth day, the leader of the tribe of Simeon, Shelomiel, son of Shurshadai, brought his gifts. On the sixth day, the leader of the tribe of Gad, Elisaph, son of Duel, brought his gifts. On the seventh day, the leader of the tribe of Ephraim, Elishama, son of Ahummadab, brought his gifts. On the eighth day, the leader of the tribe of Manasseh, Gamaliel, son of Peduzar, brought his gifts. So you see there, calling names during offering is in the Bible. On the ninth day, the leader of the tribe of Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gidnai, brought his gifts. On the 10th day, the leader of the tribe of Dan, Ahaziah, son of Meshdai, brought his gifts. On the 11th day, the leader of the tribe of Asher, Pagiel, son of Okran, brought his gifts. On the 12th day, the leader of the tribe of Naphtali, Ahira, son of Enan, brought his gifts. So all these things were the gifts from the leaders of the Israelites. They brought them during the time that Moses dedicated the altar by anointing it. They brought 12 silver plates, 12 silver bowls, and 12 gold spoons. Each silver plate weighed about 3 1/4 pounds, and each bowl weighed about 1 3/4 pounds. The silver plates and silver bowls together all weighed about 60 pounds using the official measure. 12 gold spoons filled with incense weighed 4 ounces each using the official measure. The 12 gold spoons altogether weighed about 3 pounds. The total number of animals for the burnt offerings was 12 bulls, 12 rams, and 12 one-year-old male lambs. There were also the grain offerings that must be given with these offerings, and there were 12 male goats to be used for a sin offering. The leaders also gave animals to be killed and used as a fellowship offering. The total number of these animals was 24 bulls, 60 rams, 60 male goats, 60 one-year-old male lambs, poor animals. In this way, they dedicated the altar after Moses anointed it. They killed all those animals to dedicate the altar. Lord have mercy. When Moses went into the meeting tent to speak to the Lord, he heard the Lord's voice speaking to him. The voice was coming from the area between the 2 cherub angels on the mercy cover on top of the box of the agreement. In this way, the Lord spoke to Moses. Numbers chapter 8, the lampstand. The Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron to put the 7 lamps in the place I showed you. These lamps will light the area in front of the lampstand. Aaron did this. He put the lamps in the right place so that they lighted the area in front of the lampstand. He obeyed the command that the Lord gave Moses. This is how the lampstand was made. It was made from hammered gold, all the way from the gold base at the bottom to the gold flowers at the top. It looked just like the pattern that the Lord had shown to Moses. Dedicating the Levites. The Lord said to Moses, separate the Levites from the other Israelites. Make these Levites clean. This is what you should do to make them clean. Sprinkle the special water from the sin offering on them. The water will make them clean. Then they must shave their bodies and wash their clothes. This will make the bodies clean. They must take a young bull and grain offering that must be offered with it. The grain offering will be flour mixed with oil. Then take another young bull for a sin offering. Bring the Levites to the area in front of the meeting tent. Then bring all the Israelites together at that place. Bring the Levites before the Lord. The Israelites will put their hands on them and will give the Levites to the Lord as an offering from the Israelites. Then the Levites will be ready to do their special work for the Lord. Tell the Levites to put their hands on the heads of the bulls. One bull will be a sin offering. The other bull will be used as a burnt offering to the Lord. These offerings will make the Levites pure. Tell the Levites to stand in front of Aaron and his sons, then give the Levites to the Lord. They will be like an offering. This will make the Levites holy. They will be different from the other Israelites. The Levites will belong to me. So make the Levites pure and give them to the Lord as a special offering. After you do this, they can come and do their work at the meeting tent. The Israelites will give me the Levites. They will belong to me. In the past, I told every Israelite family to give me their firstborn son. But now I'm taking the Levites in place of these firstborn sons from the other families in Israel. Every firstborn in Israel, man or animal, is mine, because I killed all the firstborn children and animals in Egypt, and I chose to take the firstborn sons to belong to me. But now I will take the Levites in their place. I will take the Levites in the place of all the firstborn sons from the other families in Israel. I chose the Levites from among all the Israelites, and I give them as gifts to Aaron and his sons. I want them to do the work at the meeting tent. They will serve for all the Israelites. They will help make the sacrifices that make the Israelites pure. Then no great sickness or trouble will come to the Israelites when they come near the holy place. So Moses, Aaron, and all the Israelites obeyed the Lord. They did with the Levites, everything that the Lord commanded Moses. Excuse me, the Levites washed themselves and their clothes. Then Aaron gave them to the Lord as special offerings. Aaron gave the offerings that covered their sins and made them pure. After that, the Levites came to the meeting tent to do their work. Aaron and his sons watched them. They were responsible for the work of the Levites. Aaron and his sons did what the Lord commanded Moses. Then the Lord said to Moses, this is a special command for the Levites. Every Levite man who is 25 years old or older must come and share in the work of the meeting tent. But when a man is 50 years old, he will retire from his hard work. Ain't that nothing? Men who are at least 50 years old will be on duty to help their brothers, but they will not do the work themselves. That is what you must do for the Levites so that they can do their duty. So 25 to 50. Wow. Amazing. Next passage, Numbers chapter 9, the Passover. The Lord spoke to Moses in the desert of Sinai. This was during the first month of the second year after the Israelites came out of Egypt. He said to Moses, tell the Israelites to celebrate the Passover at the chosen time. They must eat the Passover meal just before dark on the 14th day of this month. They must do this at the chosen time, and they must follow all the rules about Passover. So Moses told the Israelites to celebrate Passover. The people did this in the desert of Sinai just before dark on the 14th day of the first month. The Israelites did everything just as the Lord commanded Moses. But some of the people could not celebrate Passover that day. They were unclean because they had touched a dead body. So they went to Moses and Aaron that day and said to Moses, we touched a dead body and became unclean. But why must we be kept from offering our gifts to the Lord at the chosen time with the rest of the Israelites? Moses said to them, I will ask the Lord what he says about this. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites this. It might happen sometimes that you or your descendants cannot celebrate the Lord's Passover at the right time. Someone might be unclean because they touched a dead body, or they might be away on a trip. They will still be able to celebrate Passover at another time. They must celebrate Passover before dark on the 14th day of the second month. At that time, they must eat the lamb, the bread without yeast, and the bitter herbs. They must not leave any of the food until the next morning, and they must not break any of the bodies of the lamb. They must follow all the rules about Passover. But anyone who is able must celebrate Passover at the right time. If they're clean, they're not away on a trip, there's no excuse for them not to do it. If they don't celebrate the Passover at the right time, they must be separated from their people. They are guilty and must be punished because they did not give the Lord his gift at the right time. A foreigner living among you might want to share in the Lord's Passover with you. This is allowed, but that person must follow all the rules about Passover. The same rules are for everyone. The cloud and the fire. On the day of the holy tent, the tent of agreement was set up. A cloud covered it. At night, the cloud over the holy tent looked like fire. Cloud stayed over the holy tent all the time, and at night, the cloud looked like fire. When the cloud moved from its place over the holy tent, the Israelites followed it. When the cloud stopped, that is the place where the Israelites camped. This was the way the Lord showed the Israelites when to move and when to stop and set up camp. While the cloud stayed over the holy tent, the people continued to camp in that place. Sometimes the cloud would stay over the holy tent for a long time. The Israelites obeyed the Lord and did not move. Sometimes the cloud was over the holy tent only for a few days. So the people obeyed the Lord's command. They followed the cloud when it moved. Sometimes the cloud stayed only during the night. The next morning, the cloud moved. Lord, and then they had to pack all that stuff up and So the people gathered their things and followed it. If the cloud moved during the day or during the followed, if the cloud stayed over the holy tent for 2 days, a month, or a year, the people stayed at that place. They did not leave until the cloud moved. When the cloud rose from its place, they moved and moved. They also moved. So the people obeyed the Lord's commands. You kind of keep repeating yourself over and over. They camped when the Lord told them to. They moved when he told them to. They watched carefully and obeyed the Lord's commands to Moses. This is the word of the Lord. Place those words in the comment section. This is the word of the Lord. Make sure you follow, like, share, and subscribe. And please share with everyone to join us every morning, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time for